Elizabeth, Kipco Stakes.
I'm sure, like you, really looking forward to this. Francesca getting set to see the horses. Before we do that, Jason Weaver, how do you see this playing out?
Well, I think that we want a true test, but I think that the O'Brien team will be very aware that the likes of Westover and also the filly Emily Upjohn can be a bit keen, and they won't want to make it easy for them either.
Yeah, we'll talk tactics in a bit, which could be intriguing.
Now, where better to start than with the biggest horse in the field. This is all 570 kilos of King of Steel. He is a big boy, and he is the pick of many people here because of the promise that he's shown. He was second in the Derby when Kevin Stott said he went too early, but I don't think he did. And then he came out and won the King Edward VII Stakes here at Ascot in impressive style by 3 lengths eased down. In theory, on paper, on form, he's got a bit more to prove to mix it with the best of them here. But I think it's the potential that people are most excited about. Kevin Stott mentioned earlier in the day that he is partially blind in that right eye. We can just see a tiny bit of cloudiness in there, and he has run around a tiny bit in his races, but jockey will be keeping him on the straight and narrow today. Point Lonsdale's in behind him. You can see automatically the difference in type. He's longer, he's leaner, he's smaller. He's an outsider here, despite having some good pieces of form, especially at 2. Adam Kirby takes the ride, a rare ride for the Ballydoyle team. Bolshoi Ballet, another one. Can we afford to ignore it? A huge price here. He's likely to go off on the front end. He's a Grade 1 winner in his own right over in America. He's quite small, quite relaxed type. Luxembourg 3-time Group 1 winner. He's a big price today. Tactically, I don't know what they're going to do with him. Are they going to go forward because he won the Tats Gold Cup with those kind of tactics? Might they go back with him if they send the others forward? Intriguing. He tends to carry his head a little bit high. He's got these straight hind legs. It's an unusual type physically, but we know he's got talent. Now, Dover Legend is getting himself a little bit warm, this one. He was the Great Voltager winner last year, went over to Melbourne. He was favourite for the Cup, finished 4th that day. He's run only once since he's been back this year. He was 4th here at Ascot. He had 3 lengths to find in theory with Pile Driver that day, but if you watch the race back, he never really got a run, so he could improve on that. But I don't really like the way he's got himself so warm here. Now, this is interesting because we saw August Rodin in the pre-parade. He's since been saddled and he's come down to the parade ring where there's a lot more noise, a lot more action, and he's just getting himself a bit warm. He's jig-jogging there, just sweating up on his neck and on his flank a little bit. I didn't see him in Ireland. At the Derby, I remember him being a little bit more relaxed than that. However, he's got these 2 handlers, Davey on this side, Pat on the other side, who are keeping him calm. And we'll keep an eye on him, but wouldn't want him to get too more revved up. In behind, Emily Upjohn, a lot of people's selection, including mine. She's a bit of a star, isn't she? She's a big, strong girl, especially for a mare. I said to Jason last night that she was my selection. He said, oh, but she's got to give £8 to the dual Derby winner, August Rodin, and weight does stop trains. As we know, she was beaten by Paddington in the Eclipse last time, giving him £7. And this, however, is much more her distance, over 1.5 miles. We'll see her true running, and we've got Frankie Dettori, her regular partner, back on board. She's lovely and relaxed. She's got a nice shine on her, and she looks in good nick. Now, Pile Driver, he's beautifully balanced horse, this one. He's probably a little bit lighter framed, a little bit lighter through the middle than some of the others, but he's so proud. Look at him there. He's got his ears pricked. He's got his neck arched, stepping out beautifully. He is the pride of the stable, the Muir and Grassick stable, of his La Pile partnership owners. He's taken them on some incredible journey, including winning this race last year. However, he is perpetually underestimated, and that seems to be, I think, because last year's King George would be considered to be inferior to this race, despite the fact that he beat Emily Upjohn, who's fancied that day, Westover as well, who boiled over that day. He's not the easiest to ride. Sometimes he can be a bit keen early. He can wander around under pressure late on, but PJ McDonald has the job of steering him. Hookham, gosh, he looks really well. He, first time I've seen him this year. He is now a 6-year-old. He beat Pile Driver, who we've just seen at the Coronation Cup last year so impressively. He then picked up a near career-ending injury. We thought we might not get to see him again. However, he's come out and beaten last year's Derby winner Desert Crown at Sandown. Really hard to rule him out, like it is the case with so many of these. Owen Burrows is just about to put Jim Crowley up in the saddle, fresh off that win at York. And that is them heading out to the track.
Shaker Hissa is here, as you can see, to see Hookham in those colours, speaking to the Princess Royal, who will present the trophy. Her husband here as well. Those blue and white colours, successful before in '89 with Nashwan. They won with Tagruda as well. What chance, Hookham?
He has to be a huge player, and what a wonderful time Shaker Hissa has had with a Baid, a superstar of extraordinary talent, and now Hookham bidding to step up again on what he's shown us so far.
Here's Westover, who went off favourite last year, boiled over, pulled hard in the race, had no chance. He's called Westy at home. Cardzosa, who's Brazilian, rides him daily, lets him go to post on a huge day for Rod Hornby in the saddle. Looks much more in control this year, Jason.
Francesca telling me he has earplugs, so we need to watch him at the gate. Will they stay in or will they come out?
That's the question. I noticed he didn't have the red hood on. I asked Rafe Beckett why that was. He said, oh, he's grown up, he's become a man, he's more tractable. However, I hadn't seen the earplugs, but yeah, either they stay in or they come out before the race.
Here's Point Lonsdale, who might go forward in the race in the Highland Reel colours that won the King George. Adam Kirby with his second ride in the race for Aidan O'Brien, who's won it 4 times. Also has Bolsho Ballet in the Galileo colours, running in a 7th group or grade 1. He won the 2021 Belmont Derby. We last saw him second in the Wolferton at the Royal Meeting. Good luck to Sean Levy, who has a 29th ride for the Master of Ballydoyle. Then comes Luxembourg, who looked well, Jason.
You know, Richard Hoyles put him up earlier on as a horse to run way above where his price is. Not very often I've seen him look that well. He can look long, lean, and he doesn't look as if he's really coordinated walking around. A bit more robust. They've managed to get some meat on him.
Deauville Legend going to post under Oisin Murphy, having his 3rd ride in the race for James Ferguson, having his first runner. Good luck to him. Won a great Voltager, 4th in the Hardwick on his reappearance in the Mr. Ho colours. Good luck to Katie Webb, who rides the horse out on a daily basis. Here's August Rodin, the Derby winner, as Francesca said, on his toes. Pat Keating will soon send him to post. When we look at the Derby, Jason, Ryan had the situation under control that day, didn't he?
He did. It was the early part and down round the hill that he was on and off the bridle, never really going with that much fluency, and it was the way that he attacked, and Ryan always felt that he was in control. Watch King of Steel's acceleration as he goes through the gap, and Ryan had that target on his back and was only going smoothly through the gears to go and get him late on.
It was a massive run either way you look at it from King of Steel. Not only his first start of the year, he missed a prep run in the Dante. Kevin Stott's since said he went too early, which I don't think he did. He had to target the horse for home. It's just that August Rodin emerged from the pack, from behind them, with probably a better sustained run on the day. He had fitness on his side, he had a bit more experience on his side as well. But that's what makes this even more interesting. It's the rematch of not only, well, it's a rematch of these two, plus a lot of other really good horses.
So grateful to Connections for taking each other on. Matt Chapman spoke to Ken Pitterson, who chose number 10, August Rodin, as his paddock pick ahead of the King George VI. He's favourite on the exchanges. You'll see the odds at the bottom of your screen. We saw Pile Driver. Must give him credit, Jason. People say he doesn't get the credit he deserves. He certainly does on ITV. And Roger Devlin in the week described him as like the equivalent in racing of Leicester winning the Premier League. Can he do it again?
I'm so loath to overlook him because he's a wonderful, wonderful campaigner. If William and the team are feeling that he was only 85% when he managed to win at the Royal Meeting, but he can duck around, can't he?
That's what I think could be quite interesting here, because you tell me, but tempo-wise, we could have quite a good speed on, because Bolsho Ballet might go forward, Point Lonsdale might go forward, Luxembourg we're not sure yet, but I think Pile Driver will really suit being able to just track into the race, track into it, and then like pounce late rather than being exposed on the front end and having to be ridden for a finish. I think if he can just sneak his way through, probably not go for the whip if he doesn't really have to until the very last minute.
Can you remember, this is him coming through for the success. Now watch him duck both ways. Will King of Steel do that? We've been told about him being partially blind in his right eye. Will he dive one way or the other? So we've got two horses potentially could be in the finish, and they both have a tendency to run around.
Yeah, you can see there purely when PJ McDonald pulled his whip through to the left hand, tapped him behind the saddle with the left, he ducked right, so he'd be trying to avoid doing that.
Now, you started the day saying you fancied Emily Upjohn, and we'll find out again on Wednesday. Could it be the fact that she was giving Paddington £7, and Paddington could turn out to be seriously, seriously good in the Eclipse last time?
Well, she gave him £7, yet she's going further this time, and she's got to give August Rodin £8. So who's better, Paddington or August Rodin? Different distances, of course. This is a mile and a half. It does make a difference, weight at this time of year, between the 3-year-olds and the older horses. She was good in the Eclipse. She didn't have Frankie Dettori on board that day. Possibly by jumping a little bit slowly, she allowed Paddington the first run home, which meant she was always trying to catch from behind. Paddington has turned out to be something of a star this year, so she couldn't quite reel him in, but she is better over a mile and a half.
Yeah, and Dettori coming in under the radar. It seems obscene, doesn't it? It's crazy to think that Emily, we haven't really given her plenty of platform at the moment. This could mean a lot in the Trainers' Championship as well, Ed. You know, John and Thady Gosden are leading the way at the moment. There is a massive pot on offer here, over 700,000 to the winner.
The horse has been popular both on the exchanges, and they're at 15-2, Jason. It's Westover.
Yeah, look, last year he ran with the choke out, and that's what the older horses take advantage of, is they're giving away the £11, which is a massive amount of weight over this distance. But if the 3-year-olds mess around or miss it half a beat, we're talking very, very small margins. Then the older brigade, their ability to slot in and travel and find that place, they take advantage.
With the one that catches the eye there, look right down the list, Luxembourg, 14-1, 3-time Group 1 winner. Winner of the Group 1-2 starts ago. Well, how are they going to deploy him? Are they going to ride him forward or back?
I don't know. I thought that they might ride him cold and let the other two go forward, but you never know. Is he going to be there to ensure a real good gallop?
And if they were so confident in August Rodin, why are they running such a good horse against him?
Because he could take them right out into that deep water that he needs to be to show that stamina we know he's got.
Emily Upjohn goes forward. That'll be King of Steel at 9-2. They're weak on the exchanges late, trading at 8, which is 7-1. Good luck, Kevin Stott and Ammo Racing. The wait is over. Richard.
So King of Steel, who, reminder, did have trouble at the stalls at the Dante, is the last one in with the aid of a blindfold for the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Kipco Stakes. Star-studded cast. 6 horses, 120 rated or over, and they jump away. Point Lonsdale rousted along to go forward. Not doing it that easily as Bolshoi Ballet drops onto the inside running rail. Pile Driver presses forward as well. Luxembourg on the rails. August Rodin, who was drawn out wide, is just trying to slot in. Westover, who settled a little better than 12 months ago, but is still deep as Point Lonsdale and Bolshoi Ballet dispute the lead. Pile Driver is the one who is keen, with Luxembourg on the running rail in 4th place. Hookham in blue and white, with Westover posted wide and no cover, racing in about 5th or 6th place. August Rodin tracks him with King of Steel at this stage. The 2 3-year-olds, a couple from the back, with Emily Upjohn and Deauville Legend last of all. So they've just about completed the downhill run. Point Lonsdale and Bolshoi Ballet, with Luxembourg on the inside of Pile Driver disputing 3rd. Westover will be 3 wide round the Swindley bottom on the outside of Hookham, and King of Steel now just has gone past August Rodin in the blue and orange colours. Emily Upjohn ridden quietly by Frankie Dettori, and last of all is Deauville Legend. So now they climb up past the 7. Point Lonsdale and Bolshoi Ballet can dictate the pace that they desire. Pile Driver in 2nd place, in 3rd place I should say, with on the inside Luxembourg, then Westover and Hookham. Behind these we have on the outside August Rodin of King of Steel, Emily Upjohn nosing between the 2 3-year-olds, and Deauville Legend is still at the back of the pack, so they continue the climb uphill. Point Lonsdale applying a bit of pressure to Bolshoi Ballet as they pass the 5. Luxembourg and Pile Driver just ahead of Westover, Hookham and King of Steel. August Rodin's being pushed along, 2 from the back as Emily Upjohn makes smooth progress as they stay off the rail. Bolshoi Ballet, Luxembourg trying to sneak through with Point Lonsdale and Aidan O'Brien, threesome at the head of affairs. Pile Driver, Westover, then King of Steel. Hookham behind these, Emily Upjohn. August Rodin has faded right out of things. They make the turn for home. Luxembourg Luxembourg will have first strike at the King George. Bolshoi Ballet, Westover down the outside. King of Steel waits in the wings, and Piledriver seeks to retain his ground. Luxembourg on the inside, up the centre, Westover. Huckham and King of Steel now begin their charges. Westover leads in the King George. Huckham with over a length to find. Then King of Steel. Huckham coming at Westover. On the inside, King of Steel. Three of them inside the final furlong. It's Huckham and Westover. The King George between the pair. Huckham and Westover are locked together. A titanic battle. Huckham edging ahead close home. And it's Huckham's King George. Westover second, King of Steel, Luxembourg, Piledriver. Behind these Bolshoi Ballet, Emily up, John, August, Rodan, ease down, has still got half a furlong to travel. Huckham came at Westover as King of Steel faded away and has provided Jim Crowley and Owen Burrows with a memorable success. Westover, for whom it all went wrong 12 months ago, it nearly all went right this time. Rob Hornby committed him, he fought hard, but he couldn't hold off Huckham, and the two of them pulled 4 lengths clear of King of Steel. Huckham, a quality racehorse, related to Baid, now he can have his day in the sun. The return from a significant injury sees him back on track, and a winner of the King George.
And after all that build-up, what a duel. Not the duel many would have expected. And here's the result.
For Huckham.
Huckham wins the King George. For Shadwell, Jim Crowley and Owen Burrows, who's won the 2 big races on the day. And this is a race that served up duels. Grundy Bastino, the most famous, Jason. Nash won Cocoathes. Enable against Crystal Ocean. This was another, wasn't it?
Well, what a strange race. We're going to have to dissect this, because from early on, the distress signals were out. Look at the two at the back of the pack. Deauville Legend with the jockey change. August Rodan allowed to canter home, but it opened up beautifully. Westover runs round. He's gone a little bit deep on the track, but no excuses. Huckham slipstreaming through with him. And on the inside, to have probably the best run round, King of Steel, but just no stamina late in the day.
And this is where they locked horns, isn't it? They've just come within the 1 furlong marker. Westover on the inside, Huckham on the outside. 2 older horses going head to head. Huckham, the 6-year-old, Westover, the 4-year-old on the inside, and the lines approaching, and just Huckham gets his head down. It's a brilliant story, the fact that he won the coronation last year. We weren't sure if we'd ever see him again. I think it was a fracture of a cannon bone. Owen Burrows has managed to nurse him back into health, back to full fitness. He came back, beat last year's Derby winner, and here he is on only the 2nd start of this year, winning the King George. That is some performance, and he is a lovely horse.
Westover has run a huge race after last year's disappointment. Look at Rob Hornby, head-to-head with Jim Crowley. And it's the blue and white on the far side who won it. Arif Mohammed there, who led up the horse. John Lake rides this horse out every day. And Jason, that is some training performance.
Yeah, absolutely. For him, the way that he's gone through the grades, or the years, or the patience that it's taken. I was lucky enough to work for Charlie Whittingham years ago, and he always told me that the thoroughbred was at its best, at its peak, if you could get them up into their 5-year-old career. This lad is an exception. He's now put up a career best performance, I feel, at the age of 6.
He has. The previous 6-year-old winners were Swain and Enable, and they both won it the year before. This guy hadn't, because he wasn't here to run in it last year because he was injured. But at this age and at this patience that they've been able to deliver with him, it's been some performance. And Ollie's with the winning jockey.
I sure am. It promised to be a race for the ages. That was a finish for the ages. Jim, how tough was Huckham there?
Unbelievable. I mean, I've always believed in him. I've always thought, even last year, I said to him, this could be a King George on our course, you know. And he's out his brother's shadow now. And a great training performance by Owen. He was off a year. In fairness to Shaker Hisser, she persisted with him, brought him back into training. It would have been very easy to retire him after winning a Group 1. Full brother to Baid. She had faith in him, and it's great. That was something special.
It really was. It was a great spectacle to watch. Just talk us through the race. Did it go according to plan?
Yeah, it went smoothly with a nice pitch. Westover got first run on me a little bit, but it gave me something to aim at. But He was so tough. I mean, you know, I never felt like he was going to come off second best there.
That must be a great feeling. I suppose now it's all roads to the Arc to prove yourself doubly right.
Definitely. I mean, look, he is not a mud lover, this horse. The ground was good today, and if it's soft, it comes alike, you know.
Yeah. And just finally, I know that it's pretty obvious, but how special is it to be involved in these races and then to come out the right side of the argument?
I mean, that was, like I said, it was special. Last year, in October, when we were walking into the second place or fourth place spot with Baid, it's bittersweet.
Well done, Jim. That was a thriller.
Some of the favourites disappointed. 2 horses coming back from injury, though, served up a thrilling duel. Westover, brave in second, but the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Kipco Stakes goes to Hookham. Jim Crowley, who came second in 2017 on Ulysses, wins the King George on his 5th ride. Owen Burrows wins it with his first runner. In a few minutes, he's had a 44-1 across the card group double. There he is with his back to us. Here's Hookham. Won at 13-2, was much shorter than that during the week. Looked like he might even go off favourite. Didn't today with all that money for August Rodin, who was tailed off in the end, though he has walked in. Hopefully he is okay. We'll get all the reaction for you. Westover also back from injury, second at 7-1. The 3-year-old King of Steel ran well in third at 9-2.
I think that you look at how patient they've had to be with this horse. We mentioned about Baid and the super run that Shaker Hissa had, and the worry about the ground not being soft enough for this lad, but he's proven himself to handle the ground perfectly.
I think a lot of that, like Jim said, it's not so much that he's a mud lover. I think the fact that having had that injury, they don't really want to risk him on ground that's on the firmer side of good. He's won today in good conditions, same at Sandown as well. I think it's a massive deal for the Shadwell operation because they slimmed down a huge amount 2 years ago. They had to sell a lot of horses. They obviously kept the better ones, and Hookham being one of those, so the operation is really enjoying the fruits of the horses that they kept. But it's so important. Shaker Hissa is absolutely loving being, you know, at the head of the Shadwell operation at the moment, and to have these horses continuing the legacy in such an amazing way is great. And I'm sure she really would be wishing that her father was here to enjoy it too.
Oh, how he'd have loved this with Baid last year and now Hookham. And Brough Scott always says the best horse races are duels, and this was a great duel. Look at them. Look at both jockeys. 2 brave horses.
And, you know, we always talk about the pedigrees, Francesca, and, you know, and it's that great line. He said, oh, Elvis had a brother and he couldn't sing a tune, and whether someone likes this and one likes that. Here we have a beautiful individual, See the Stars, out of Agareed. The full brother, Baid, was a rocket over a mile and still could be that superstar stallion that we're looking for.
I've just quoted Brough Scott saying he loves great duels. How great a duel did we just see, Brough Scott?
Well, that's as good as we've had, really. What's so lovely about this one was that one horse really played his card, which is a winning card, Westover. He really went committed, and he laid it down to the other horse to take him. And I wondered whether Hookham would be tough enough. But he was good enough and tough enough. And when you good and toughness together is the ultimate of the thoroughbred. Look at this. He goes for it now, Rob Hornby. And basically, the way he leaves all the others, that's what's so impressive. I mean, King of Steel run a hell of a race, but he's leaving him. And now it's a duel. And can he do it? And Westover will not give in, will he? He comes to take him, and then he's held back. You think Westover's going to do it again? He comes through. Look, Westover's going to win it here. And yet, you heard what Jim Crowley said, you know, I never thought I would come out second best. I must say it was very, very close. But there, you know, to actually be as determined as that, because Westover really gets the trip. It's a great, great race. We're lucky to be here.
Brough Scott loves a duel. Hookham won this one. Let's get more reaction.
Well, here's Willie Carson talking to Shaker Hissa, Owen Burrows. Great, great scenes. Richard Hills,
Let's have a word with Sheikh Hissa. 1989, your great father Hamdan Al Maktoum won this race with the mighty Nashwan. Did you ever think you might be standing in this winner's enclosure with your own horse in these great colours?
To be fair, he was prepped for this last year before his injury. So it was now or never. We knew it was a big field. He's a genuine horse. He's done it twice now, in the Group 3 last time and this time. So we were speechless. We're still emotional about it.
Yeah. I saw some of your team. They were in floods of tears, and they've all got badges of your late father.
Yes.
They're wearing the badges. I mean, this means so much as a family.
It is. The last time we won it was with Tagruda years ago, and we think very highly of her as well. So it's just good to be back, and with a homebred brother of Baeed as well. So they're from the same family as Nashwan anyways, so we're thrilled.
Absolutely thrilled, and it's great that you've carried on the tradition of Shadwell and these colours, and we thank you from everyone here at ITV for doing that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Let's go and speak to Owen Burrows. He's in the middle of the throng of the press. Dave Yates is here, Greg Wood as well, but I'm sure they won't mind if we just quickly butt in because we're going off air any moment. Owen, sorry, Yatesy, I know you won't mind. You're a good man. You're a good man. Right. Owen, a great day in your career.
Probably the best, yeah. It would have to be the best. And yeah, I'll be honest, I'm pretty speechless, to be truthful. Just saying there, great team effort to get him back. My guys at home, obviously the Shadwell guys as well, who did a great job after his injury. He went back there, did a great job rehabbing him. And yeah, look, what a tough horse. And he had to be there, didn't he? The second, didn't lie down. Credit to it. It made us fight all the way. And yeah, look, I'm just lost for words to say about this horse because he's been a huge part of my career. He was my first Royal Ascot winner, obviously first Group 1 winner. He won in Dubai when we first went out after the sad passing of Sheikh Hamdan. So, and then to come back and do what he's done now is just amazing.
Owen, a great day. We'll let you hyperventilate for a little while, I suspect. What a terrific victory for Owen Burrows.
Yeah, just a brilliant day for Owen Burrows, his best in the sport, and the Princess Royal will now make the presentation to Sheikh Hissa. I saw her having a word with Rafe Beckett, saying bad luck. Rafe was smiling. Rob Hornby spoke to Ollie and said he was absolutely gutted. Kevin Stott also spoke to Ollie and said he was delighted with King of Steel. He ran a huge race in third. But there are our winners. The colours carried to glory by Tagruda and famously in 1989 by Nashwan. The blue and white winning again, this time with Hookham. And that's the aperitif, if you like, for next week. 5 live days from the Qatar Goodwood Festival, starting on Tuesday with the Al Shakab Goodwood Cup, which promises to be an absolute cracker this year. A later start time on Tuesday after the football, and then we'll have 4 races every day, and then more on Saturday for you to enjoy. There was such a build-up to today, and we're always looking in this sport to bring in new fans, young fans who will enjoy horse racing. And maybe this horse might just hook them.